Hello, my name is Matrona Jessica Ward, founder of Family Legacy Planning Firm, and we're back for another 5-Minute Friday. Today's topic is periodically reviewing and updating your estate plan. You guys all know that it's really important to have your estate plan, and a lot of people, when I talk to them out in the community, say, I already had an estate plan in place. I got taken care of 10 years ago, so I'm set. And the fact is that your estate plans really do need to be kept up to date. So let me back up a little. There's 3 things that I don't know and can't know about the situation. I don't know when you're going to die. I don't know what the law is going to be when you do die. And I don't know how much you're going to own when you die. So when we are creating a plan, we try to keep everything in mind that there, could be different possibilities and different eventualities. But at the same time, we can't think of everything as much as we try. Your estate plan just can't be a one-time event. It needs to evolve with you when your family changes, as the law might change, and you might not know about those changes in the law. I had a client who had dementia, and she came in needing her estate plan review. She wasn't my client prior to this, and it turns out that the way she left her estate, left it to her sister and brother, and if one was deceased, then it went to the other. Well, that ended up disinheriting her sister's daughters, her nieces, who this client really wanted to include now that her sister had passed. But this client had dementia, and it was too late to have the mental capacity in order to change her estate plan. And her brother was particularly litigious, so as it turned out, she just wasn't really able to get it updated to reflect her wishes before she passed. And that's too bad, because if she had had an attorney who offered a complimentary review every 3 years like I do, it's possible that this wouldn't have happened, and she would have been able to adjust her plan for a circumstance that she hadn't foreseen, which is her sister outliving her. So when you review your plan, you want to also make sure that it reflects your wishes and your values. Take advantage of any new planning opportunities that might be afforded to you under new laws. I've reviewed quite a few plans of couples that got their planning done 20 years ago and didn't realize that they didn't need such a complicated plan anymore. The way the estate tax was back then required people to, have it structured in such a way to preserve their estate from more estate taxes. And now that's not necessary because the exemption is so high. So they had these really rigid and complicated trust structures that they didn't need at all. So we were able to go in and simplify it out, make it easy on the person who's going to come after them as their trustee, so that it wasn't so burdensome on them for the job and so expensive for the estate. One important thing to keep in mind is that the plan needs to be a comprehensive plan that covers all of your assets and liabilities. So you'll also want to have your what's called ancillary documents, the powers of attorney, healthcare directives, and things like that reviewed also as part of your will and trust review. You'll want to make sure that the people who are going to be called upon in the case of an emergency are still alive and well and nearby and willing to help. It's still part of your life and still, wanting to provide that for you. The best practice in this area is to review your plan at least every 3 years. I've heard from some clients that banks start to treat their plans as stale after 3 years when they're dealing with a power of attorney. So especially as you start to age, which we all are, you'll want to get your power of attorney re-signed every 3 years to make sure that the banks continue to accept it. So what can happen is if you do get into a phase where you have dementia and the banks are reluctant to accept your new power of attorney, but your power of attorney, you don't have the ability to sign a new one at that point because unfortunately you don't have the mental capacity anymore, which is what a power of attorney is supposed to protect against. So that's a really important thing to get done. Now, like I mentioned, at Family Legacy Planning Firm, we offer our review every 3 years so that nothing falls through the cracks. So we want to make sure that you don't have to worry about getting a bill either for calling us with questions. So everything is agreed to in advance, including any updates that are needed. So remember, reviewing and updating your plan regularly is an important part of the estate planning process. So do take the time to update your plan regularly and make any changes necessary to ensure that your plan works when you need it. And if you need any help or assistance with that, please feel free to schedule an appointment or a phone call.